wrote down, because I wrote a few notes, that as a trainee teacher I felt as if I wanted to help and support the learners as much as I possibly could. And I think actually this module has made me reflect on that and think actually maybe I've helped them almost too much in the past, because I think I've wanted to help and guide so much. I think I've given them too much information. So I was focusing this little presentation then on my observed lesson, where I did a very typical lesson. I laid down the foundations of learning first. We were learning about speech and language development for children, and I wanted the learners to plan an activity to promote speech and language. That's quite typical of the lesson that I do, because I like to have the practical element. However, I wouldn't have normally done it so quick with such less foundation building prior to it. It's a bit complicated then. So I just threw it open to the learners, and some of them looked a bit shocked, some of them a bit, is this right? Am I doing it right? And it was quite hard for me not to jump in and go, yeah, that's fine, or no, how about this way, that way? So I just stopped and let the learner take over. Then one learner, we were talking about different areas of learning, and one of the girls actually asked me if she wanted to incorporate different areas of learning into her written work. I immediately wanted to answer her and kind of guide her the way that I felt she should be going, but Steve actually advised me to bounce the question back to her, which I did, and whilst it felt hard for me, it proved really positive. I put the question back to her to say, what do you think? She looked at me really confused for about 30 seconds. Then slowly the cogs started working in her brain. She spoke about what the activity was. She spoke about what I wanted her to do. She then said, but we've already talked about all the different areas of learning and how they all underpin another one. And suddenly it was like a light bulb went on, and everything that we talked about in the previous lesson just made total sense. And it was a really good example. I mean, she felt chuffed because she answered her own question. But for me, teaching her, I felt really chuffed because it just showed that everything that I'd laid down as foundation actually made sense, and she took to the next level. I mean, she was a really good example. I mean, not every learner is going to have the same experience, but she took it, she ran with it, and she went with it. So I kind of said that ICE means to me giving the learner the opportunity to develop their own learning.